to Encounters with Darkness.
I'm Melissa.
I'm Ashley.
And we're here to talk about Randolph Asylum.
It was weird.
So weird.
Oh my gosh. So weird.
But I'm honestly, though, too, I'm like on a high from it.
Still.
Like, I'm just excited to go to more places, to be honest. And I kind of want to go back there.
I do. I want to go back to Randolph. And there's also the people, Randolph, where it got its name. That was the family who built Randolph Asylum. And they have a mansion. And I really want to go stay at the mansion. And after you watch the first and the second part of the tour, you're going to understand why we want to go to the mansion. Like, there are secrets, okay?
Yeah.
And I feel like if anything bad happened there, it would have followed the owners to their house.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Because there was too much, which, again, if you watch the first half, a lot of it was kept in the residents' diaries, and a lot of things were covered up. And if you think of who's covering it up, it had to be because of the owners. Like, why else? The things that happened, which you'll hear about, why would you cover those things up?
Now, that part they won't hear about because our camera cut out. Weird, right?
Yeah.
Fully, we went through 2 batteries during our the tour
And that was only 30 minutes long.
And 2 batteries, two fully charged batteries. So super weird. The part that you are not going to see is probably, I think, not the saddest, but just the saddest in the sense of justice. So there was a patient who lived at the asylum, and he was a tattletale, I guess.
Snitches get stitches.
They do, but
It's sad. He lived there his whole life.
he did. And he was cleaning his window, and it was really, he was like, what, 70s or 80s? Yeah, he was in his 80s. So if you can imagine cleaning a window, kind of like what's behind us, but up on a second story, like it's pretty high up.
Right.
Because even the basement is a little bit above ground. So you have the basement, the main floor, and then the second floor. So it's a good distance down. And it would have just been easier, 80 years old. Do you go and get a ladder and try to clean the outside of your window, or do you just sit on the edge and hang on and clean it as you're going?
And they are big windows, like these two put together, I guess.
Yeah.
To give you a reference.
They're pretty good sized windows. That's what he was doing. And the guy who was like the warden of the building was outside towards the barn, and he was walking back, and that faces that man's window, and he claims in his journal that he saw 2 men walk away from the window after that man had fell to his death, meaning he thinks that he was pushed, but there was no investigation done. It was just listed as an accidental death. You don't see 2 people walk away from the window and it be an accident.
Especially if it's like, oh, they saw him accidentally fall, but then there would have been some emotion behind it. If you saw a man fall, you wouldn't just be casually walking away from the window.
Yeah, like,
oh, well, he fell. Too bad.
Sorry.
That just, no.
Yeah, so there's some dark things that were covered up there. It's not as dark as you would think. It's not like horror movie dark, but it's still like there was no justice for him being murdered.
No.
But lots of people talking about how he was murdered in their journals.
And it was just because he was telling on how the asylum was being ran. He didn't like it. He had been there his whole life. He was seeing things that were wrong, and instead of being quiet about it, he was speaking against it. And so people hated him for it.
It was a whistleblower. Why does everyone gotta hate the whistleblowers?
Because they speak the truth.
Yeah, no one wants to hear the truth. I do. I would rather know exactly what's happening.
I feel like I'm not looking in the right spot.
Well, I've not been looking in the right spot at all.
Where's your camera?
It's there.
Oh yeah, I've been looking over here. Sorry,
don't
guys.
pay attention to our eyes, okay? Because we don't know what's going.
It's weird.
I don't even know where my camera is. It's fine. Just listen to our words. So normally we just record the podcast, but we're filming the podcast. This is our third take on filming the podcast. Start recording that. And then I'll go ahead and start recording this. But it doesn't look like it's picking anything up.
Hello, hello, hello. Randolph Asylum.
Oh.
Sorry.
It was weird. We even left a review on Google, and that's the best way that we could explain it was, it's weird. To insult all people who talk weird, including ourselves.
We mostly end up making fun of ourselves.
Yeah, that's kind
through
of...
the process. Yeah, anyways. So,
Ghosts. So, our introduction is a little wonky.
Yeah.
But if you're longtime listeners, then you know that there's nothing that's normal.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
No.
Take us as we are.
Okay. We made sure to write things down this time.
We have a list.
So we have many more installments of Randolph coming. So we're not going to give too much away with this podcast. Sorry. Deal with it. Go watch our videos. Anyways, so we want to talk about the weird stuff that happened leading up to Randolph. We had talked to each other, which we talked to each other a lot anyways, but we were talking to each other on the phone quite a bit before with things that were happening that weren't typical, and the timing just kind of fit. Like, it was literally from 2 weeks up until we left for Randolph.
Well, kind of the night of we decided to go to Randolph.
Yes.
Was wild. Okay, so that
we did do a spell that night, though, on an accident.
We did. That was our... I don't know if it's our last video before Randolph. Mm-hmm. Go find that, figure that out. Let me know what it's titled, because we've got so many now.
The Witch Hut.
Yeah, I think it's the Witch Hut. We did 2 in the Witch Hut, though, didn't we?
Yes.
I can't remember anymore. But I love them all so much. So don't think that I just don't remember because I didn't like it, because I did. But we had a weird experience in the Witch Hut itself. First time and second time. Mm-hmm. The second time that we were in the Witch Hut, it was super wild. I mean, there were spiders. Mm-hmm. We had to call, at one point we got so freaked out, we had to call Donovan. He was inside, and we had to have him come out to the backyard
to find the spiders
and walk us back to the house because we were chicken. But there was more that happened than just that. Okay, it wasn't just the spiders. We heard knocking. Mm-hmm. And, if you guys watch that video and listen to the podcast, then you know that there was a murder-suicide that happened in basically my backyard. I mean, it's not my property, but it's the property right behind my house. Yeah. Pretty freaking wild.
And where we heard the knocking, it's like abandoned back there. There's nothing.
Lights were on last night. In the abandoned house, lights were on. Mm-hmm.
Setting some weird stuff's going on back there.
Weird stuff. We would love to investigate that area, but it is private property, no trespassing, so we'd have to
get the okay.
Yeah.
Or just be stealthy.
Be stealthy or get that okay. Let us know in the comments.
Ask permission or ask forgiveness.
Yeah. Get footage, pay the fine. Let us know in the comments. What do you want us to do? Yeah, I mean, murder-suicide. Murder-suicide. And it was a grandmother and her grandson. Like, it doesn't get darker than that.
And there's still no answers. Mm-mm. Like, no one knows why still.
So we got freaked out in the Witch Hut. And we go back inside. And it was very spontaneous that all of a sudden, we were like, let's go to Randolph. Like, the idea just popped into Melissa's head, which she's wanted to go. You guys have heard her before. She's wanted to go for a very long time. Everyone wants us to go to Waverly Hills, but Melissa's already been to Waverly Hills.
Well, not only that, Randolph, surprisingly, is way easier financially to get into. Waverly, it's like, not yet.
We be broke bitches.
Yeah.
So we went to Randolph. But it was weird how it was just like, it just fit so well. So Melissa messaged them and asked them if they had any availability. Our schedules are crazy. And for whatever reason, we had one day that worked with everyone. It worked with my schedule. It worked with my son's schedule, Donovan's, her husband, her, finding someone to watch Harlow. Like,
it all just fit.
And they responded that night.
Yeah, within like 20 minutes.
And said, yeah, we have.
And it was like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. It was super late, and it fit so well. Too well. But we were so excited we didn't pay attention to how weird that all was.
Right.
We should have. In all fairness. We ignore all the signs.
We do.
All the signs of going to a place, we're
just like,
nothing can go wrong.
No.
And I mean, nothing really went wrong.
No.
I mean, depends on what your definition of wrong is. If you think finding, mysterious blood showing up is wrong, then maybe.
We'll get to that.
Put a pin in that.
The thing is, it works out well for us and what we're looking for, but being prepared for that.
That was weird.
Anyways, so leading up. Okay, so then that night, everything works out well.
Mm-hmm.
We're pumped. We're ready for it. We're so excited.
We paid our deposit.
And we're just like, wow, this is... And the cool thing is they give it to just private groups. So you get the place, which this is what made us like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. You get it for like 15 hours. And it could have just been me and Ashley, and they would have been like, yeah, just you two. But you get to pick your group, and no one stays with you.
Mm-mm.
Like, you just get the place to yourself that entire time. And they just lock you up, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So, that's cool. I haven't heard of many places doing that.
No, normally they fill up slots.
Right.
Like, if it can hold 10 people for the night, there's only 2 of you, guess what? You're getting paired with 8 more people, and they're going to be strangers.
Right.
So that definitely blows my mind that we were able to pick our group that we wanted to go, and there was only 4 of us.
Yeah.
So
worked out perfect.
It did.
But okay, so Ashley, if you follow her on her author Facebook page,
yep,
Great House Horrors, one of her books, The Shatton, references the Hat Man a lot. And if you know what the Hat Man is, let us know.
Yeah.
Or if you've witnessed him, if you know about him, blah, 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 let us know.
Yep.
I had never seen the Hat Man ever before in my life, okay? And typically, he shows up to children.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. I'm never going to see him. That's fine. Well, it was, I think, 2 weeks before Randolph. I'm just laying in the living room with my daughter, and on one of our walls in the living room makes out the figure of a man in a top hat. Okay, so here I am, like, trying to get my daughter to sleep, but I'm just, like, staring at the wall, like, don't stare at it, it's fine, it's probably something making a shadow, all's good. So eventually I did get up and try to, like, move things, and nothing was making this shadow thing move or go away. So all night long, it never moved.
Mm-mm.
It was always there. I would fall asleep with her and then, like, wake up and look, it's still there. It didn't go away until morning. But it hasn't been there since. And that had been before Halloween, so our decorations are up. So if something were to make that shadow, it would have been there the next night too.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. So of course I call Ashley and I'm like, I think I saw the Hat Man, so what's going to happen to me? Because I don't know what he means. I don't know any of that. Well, then the next night after me and Ashley had talked about it, on her TikTok, there was all of a sudden out of nowhere a new, which I don't know how TikTok works, so bear with me on explaining this. But there was a new user.
Yeah, new user.
Brand new.
His name was Hatman. And he commented on so many of my posts. It was really freaky, just the coincidence behind it. And what he commented was Morse code. So I'm instantly like, oh, this is cool. This is so cool. It's so freaky. It's so cool. I call Melissa. I'm telling her all of this. You know, she's like, this is still fresh for her. So she's not as excited about this as I am. She's like, that's freaking weird. And I'm just like, I know, but it's cool, right? Like, I figured out this Morse code. I looked it up, and it says, you know, like, don't fear the Hat Man. Basically, it was like a public service announcement about, like, not fearing him. And I'm like, are you mad at me right now? Because, like, I made the Hat Man story super scary. Like, I gave him a more malicious intent, I guess, because, like Melissa said, you know, I've experienced the Hat Man firsthand when I was little. My uncle, my grandmother, like, I have personal people in my life that I don't feel like would lie to me about it, and they've experienced it, and it's all the same thing. We all saw it around the same age. We were super, super young. He never moved. You know, in my book, the Shatton, he definitely moves. He does more than he normally does in, like, the real world. And this person is pretending to be the Hat Man, commenting Morse code, even has like this whole long post that's just Morse code. I figured that one out too. I have no life. And then I messaged him and I'm like, okay, this is weird. One of my friends just saw the Hat Man for the first time last night. Like, do you have any more information on this? And just to like kind of shatter everyone's hopes and dreams about this being like something super, super exciting. It's just a kid. Okay.
But it's still weird.
He witnessed the Hat Man and he wants to know more, so.
But isn't that strange? Like, he witnessed it, I witnessed it, maybe we witnessed it at the same time, and then he reaches out to Ashley?
Yeah. Super wild.
Like that's just strange to me.
Now, at the same time that Melissa is experiencing the Hat Man for the first time, I'm so happy to not be alone with this as the duo, you know, that are ghost hunting. Now we've both seen him. Pumped.
Yeah, super stoked.
At the same, she's like super excited about this.
I don't want him in here. Anyways, continue.
He's never hurt anyone, just in my stories.
He just gives weird vibes. Okay.
Oh, lots of weird vibes. Creeper.
Peeping Tom. That's what he is.
He's a peeping Tom. What if his name was Tom?
But he doesn't want it. He doesn't want his name to be Tom because then it'd be found out like what he's actually doing. So he's like, I wear a hat
and a trench coat.
So my it's a Hat Man.
I'm a Hat Man now, or the Shadow Man. I prefer Hat Man because the hat is the most like
dominant feature.
It is, and you don't see the whole entire like. It's not like you see a full blown apparition. You can tell it's a man. You just get the vibe that it's a man, and you just see like a black silhouette, like hat, trench coat, and then fear. You're just hit with fear.
Yeah.
So at the same time that Melissa is experiencing the Hat Man, I have my own experiences going on at my house. So I am the first one to crash out every night. I'm like done. I'm going to bed. And as I'm laying in my bed, I have a memory foam mattress. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but you feel when someone presses down on it. Okay, if it's near your feet. If it's on the other side of the bed, you don't really pay attention to it. But if it's near where like you are physically laying, you're gonna feel it press down. It takes a lot of force to just kind of like press down all that memory foam. That's what I felt. At the foot of my bed, by my feet, I would feel like the mattress go in. And I'm like, what? I just think it's one of my cats because they're kind of fat. So I was like, it's probably a cat. And then I roll over. I'm a belly sleeper. I roll over and I look and there's nothing there. So then I go and I walk through the house and there's no cats. They're all in the game room with Donovan. So the cats aren't even out. What did I just feel? And this went on every single night pretty much until Randolph. And then it hasn't happened again.
And also upstairs, because where our couch is, the stairs to go upstairs are right there. And we have a cat also. And
words.
I heard like something running around upstairs. And I was like, oh, it's Shambles, which is our cat. But then at the same time, I heard Shambles jump off our kitchen counter. So I'm like,
What?
Cool. Like, that's great. I'm just going to ignore that. And that happened a few times. And that was after my husband made one of our devices we used at Randolph. So all of it's just really strange.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had an outburst there.
Prepare to have another outburst, because just 2 nights ago, I had another... All right, remember, this is take 3, okay? I saved this information just so I could catch Melissa's actual response to me telling this story. I'm going to put it right here. Just like, all right, I'm being watched right now. It was very, very, very weird. And so then I peeked open the shower curtain a little bit, and I swear on everything, there was like a little boy standing over by my bathroom closet. Okay, so she was shocked.
I was.
So the other night, and I've talked about it before with Melissa, sometimes when I'm in the shower, I just kind of like get this weird vibe for no apparent reason at all, where I'm like, it's like the Grudge scene, you know, with like the hand in the shower, and I'm just like, okay, something's in here with me or standing right outside the shower curtain. And it just freaks me out, and I can't shake it. And, you know, you got soap in your hair, it's getting in your eyes, can't see. And then, like, that's what they want. They want you to be, like, where you can't see them, and that's when they get you. So, like, I end up freaking out, and I'm like, okay, I'm not taking a shower right now anymore. And I get out. I just call it a day. So that's what I did 2 nights ago. I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I hate this weird feeling of being watched, like... So I open up the shower curtain to peek around and see. And I have like, there's my door to leave the shower. And then there's a closet that's right next to it. And I have this curtain that hangs over the closet. And like right there in the curtain, I see this little boy's face. And it was like as quick as I blinked, it was gone. And it just freaked me out. And there's more for why it would freak me out that we'll talk about here in a moment. But as I leave, and this is the part of the story that Melissa hasn't heard yet, so this will be her honest reaction. So zoom in on her face. Don't pay attention to me, but just watch her reaction.
Put on the spot here. I gotta have a good reaction.
Gotta fake it.
Okay.
Fake it if you have to. Do it for the vine.
I'm ready.
So as I'm leaving the bathroom and I'm going to go and tell Donovan what I found or what I saw and why I'm like a mess, there's my office. And my lights are always turned out in my office. And as I walk past it, I see the boy again. And then I'm like, okay, so now I'm speed walking, right? So I'm speed walking around the corner to go into the game room. And in the living room, boy again. And then I open up the door really quickly. I do not leave the office for the game room for the entire night. I'm freaked out, and I immediately just blurt out to Donovan that I saw a little boy. And of course, he's still skeptical. So he's just like, whatever.
I think he's scared to admit he's not skeptical.
There's some weird things that happened at Randolph.
Yeah.
Now, why I said about the little boy, though, and how we'll get to that in a minute, is Donovan's brave, okay? Joe's brave too, because he walked around by himself as well. So we've got both the boys that are just like, oh, I'm an explorer, and they go off by themselves. Mm-hmm. Donovan goes down to the basement alone. He turns off all the lights, and he takes 1,000,000 pictures while he's down there. He's recording too, but he's using the camera flash of taking the pictures to maneuver around. So he stops. He's standing completely still, and he takes a picture, lets the flash go off, and that's how he's seeing. You know, is there something in my way? You know, he's paying attention because he doesn't want to walk into a wall. Right. Some of the pictures are very blurry. Again, he's standing still, taking a photo. He's standing still long enough to see the room light up and then proceed to move. But some of the photos are very weird. And one of the photos, he catches an apparition of a little boy standing by the...
It's like the laundry room.
Yeah, it was right over by the laundry room. There's like a staircase. We'll put the photo here.
And
That's
if
a
you
boy.
follow our Facebook page, we posted some of the pictures on there that Donovan took that
It's weird.
Okay, I do want to bring this up. There were some pictures he took. Okay, we were not with him. Okay,
He's alone, completely alone. At the time we were upstairs
on the second floor
with Joe, Melissa, and myself.
Yes,
all accounted for except for Donovan.
And that will be in our later footage because you'll see me, her, and Joe in a room, and you even hear me yell, "Hey, Donovan, we're on the second floor," because there's a whole reason for that.
There's a reason for that.
But he was actually in the basement. But in some of the pictures, the apparitions that you can see through, okay, it's obviously not a physical being, but they look like us.
They do. It's like not. So in one of them, it definitely has like Melissa's features, her facial features, because it's like a dead on face. And then the other one is more like my silhouette feature, like how I carry myself when I walk.
Right. But how you know it's not us is because in the one that looks like her going up the stairs, it's almost like you can see legs walking up, like shorts, and we were all wearing, it was freezing in there, which we also need to talk about that.
We do need to talk about that.
But so you know it's not her. And like, it's just, I don't know, it's just really strange.
Very strange. So can we talk about the theory?
Let's talk about the theory.
Okay, we have a theory about this place. So all four of us have about 3 hours of our time there that we cannot account for. We have no memory of it at all. We have no footage of these 3 hours that we were there. We didn't leave until 4 in the morning because it's like a 3-hour drive for us to get home. So,
and we got there at 6:30. So from 6:30 to 4, we were there.
6:30 p.m. till 4 o'clock in the morning the next day. We were there. But we can't account for at least 3 hours of it. We have no footage. We have no memory. And we talk about that in our live. Like closer till 3 o'clock in the morning, we kind of hint around that we've lost time.
Because we're like, oh, what? It's like 8:30 and we look at the phone. It's like after 11. And we're just like, oh. Like, what? And then also, this is interesting. As we were watching, because we had a webcam going in the base room where we just, like, had everything. While we were there, which just goes with the missing time. And it's really strange to watch yourself, period. Okay?
It is.
But we thought we started in the basement first. All of us together. We just wanted to re-walk it after the tour and everything. It felt like we were only down there because we did a live while we were down there. Felt like we were down there for maybe 30 minutes. So we were watching the webcam footage and we come back up and all of us look defeated.
Yeah. I mean, we look rough.
And we were down there for almost 2 hours.
Explain that.
But it's weird because I don't even remember, like, all of us looking like that. Like, I'm just sitting on the floor looking so sad. Donovan's not talking in one area. Joe doesn't want to be on camera and, like, goes off camera. Ashley's nowhere to be seen. No one's talking.
No.
And we always talk, okay?
Yeah. We're goofy all the time.
Yes.
All the time. And as we're down there in the basement, this is weird. So me and Melissa can very much pick up on each other's emotions very easily. And I don't like basements, okay? If you watched my first paranormal investigation where I go to a house here in Seymour with, like, I don't like basements, okay? It makes it very obvious in that one because we went down to the basement and I was not about that. Like, I wanted to get out. I talked about how my legs started shaking. Like, I just felt nervous. I don't like basements. So Melissa picks up while we're in the basement and she's like, "What's the matter with you?" And I'm like, "Nothing. No, I'm fine." Later I tell her, I'm like, "I just don't like basements. Like, they just freak me out a little bit." But I don't think that's what it was. We missed time. We were down there for 2 hours, and we all thought we were only down there for about 20, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Just to do a quick walkthrough as a group. That was our plan. Mm-hmm. Plan was to do a quick walkthrough with us without the tour guide of everything that we went to. That's not what happened.
No.
That's not what happened at all. It was like there was no plan anymore. It was...
Everything just kind of...
It was a blur.
And the best way... I want to, like... Why we say it messed with our perception, too. There's... So...
Words are hard.
Okay, so there's a kitchen that groups can use. Okay, mm-hmm. It has like a stove, a fridge, coffee pot, all that. So they're very good to their people who stay there. Mm-hmm. Donovan and Ashley brought so many snacks and like drinks and all that good stuff. We had nothing. We just had snack foods like.
Yeah, we had Cheez-Its.
Candy.
Yeah, we had a lot of candy, and mostly is chocolate.
Yeah. We
had, I want to call them Takis, and that's not what they were.
The little, yeah. You see them on our live.
Yeah, they're Japanese candy, basically.
But Takis. Nothing to, like, actually make.
No, it was nothing, there was nothing that you had to make. It was something that's in a wrapper, easily, you can eat it real quick, get some protein in you. We had some things like that. We had, like, trail mix and...
See the trail mix?
Because we were focused on the chocolate.
True, I ate a lot of Reese's.
We did. We had snack cakes.
But anyway, so when we got there, again, nothing seemed weird in the kitchen. Okay, it's just a normal kitchen. But then it was probably about 2 hours before we left. I want to say it was like around 2 a.m. because we're doing a live. Yeah. And it was after that live. But anyways, so all of a sudden, which we have a picture, which we'll put it here after we talk about it. That just shows up. Okay? Yeah. Like we
had been by... Okay, so there in the bathroom, that is, you'll see us on and off. If you follow all of this installments, then you will see, like, there's one bathroom that we're all using. It's in the kitchen. But inside the bathroom, the sink doesn't work. Okay? You can't turn on the sink. So if you want to wash your hands, which who doesn't after you pee or whatever, you had to go to the kitchen sink and wash your hands. So we were all using the sink all night long. We would have noticed this and it was not there until later. And there's no one else in this building with us. So it's just us. Yeah,
this is what it's making us. We don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense because also Donovan had this thermos full of like hot water. Okay, and it's super hard to open. Like, you have to use a lot of energy. Okay, after we got back from the basement, which we ended up being down there for way longer than we thought. Someone had opened that thermos, and that threw Donovan off, which is why I don't think he's a skeptic anymore. He's just scared to admit that something weird was going on. But he's going to watch that and be like,
he's going to be commenting. You guys are going to, all the comments are just going to be like Donovan saying, this is bullshit, ghosts aren't real.
But, like, no one had opened, we hadn't even touched the hot water. We were all drinking, like, the Monsters and the cold coffee and stuff, and the thermos was opened. That takes a lot of force. Like, and then a few hours later, it's like blood or something on the sink. Like, it just
doesn't make sense.
I'm still mind blown.
Does not make sense at all. I don't know, you guys. Like, it was weird. I mean, of course, we're not giving away everything that happened throughout our time at Randolph. We're just giving you some snippets. We're going to do our podcast or podcast on YouTube. Anyway, we're going to do this after every major snippet or segment or whatever you want to call it that we put on. So stay with us. We are still going to do our podcast. That will happen. We will talk more about Randolph as it pops up.
But I will say upcoming, because how it ended, our first installment, it'll explain how our perception was even messed with even more. Which still doesn't make sense.
No. So when we're walking down, me and Melissa we're looking. Okay, you guys are going to hear us even in our last, well, that's what we're kind of talking about in our last, the tour where we kind of take off. We're not doing the tour anymore. And we're doing our investigation. We all go down to the basement. Me and Melissa are on a mission, okay? Because when we were doing the tour, we were in the coal room. And they have like, it's a place where they could just take the trucks and dump all the coal into this one little area. And so it's not really like sealed up tight. So there's water that's dripping down. But when we're doing the tour part, me and Melissa, not communicating with each other, but both of us turned our attention from the tour guide to that coal room because we kept hearing movement in there. We did not, we're not rude. We're not going to interrupt the tour guide or anything like that. So we don't know that each other was paying attention to that. We both heard movement coming from that room. So when we go down to the basement without the tour guide, she's already gone. That's the room. You hear us. We're like, we got to find it. Where is it? That's what we're looking for because we had already talked and, Melissa was like, I heard movement in there. I was like, me too. Let's go find that room. Mm-hmm. So we're hunting for it. We find it and we think that we have debunked it as the water just dripping down and it forming puddles and that's what we were hearing. No. We played the footage back of us originally being in the room with the tour guide. And like why we took off running is because something ran towards us.
And you'll hear it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like pitter patter against the, like not drips of water. It is footsteps on the wet coal running towards us. And that's, we take off running because.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, and we had to keep up with the tour guide. Yeah. Okay, so we weren't solo just yet.
Right.
So
we were just doing our part.
Yeah, we were staying with her because that was the respectful thing to do.
Yes, we weren't scared.
It wasn't because we were afraid. We're paranormal investigators. Lord. But yeah, we thought we debunked it, and then we watched the footage again, and we did not debunk it. I wish we would have went back into that room and did more in there. But in our defense...
see why.
Yeah.
Why we never made it back.
Yeah.
So please stay tuned with us, guys.
Yeah, and then after that, we gave up because we couldn't find that room in that moment, but we found the kitchen. And when we walk into the kitchen, there's all this change that's laid out for the spirit that's said to stay in the kitchen. Her name was Doris. Super sweet. She was the cook there. She was a resident. Like, she lived there her whole life. And the job that she decided she wanted to take on as staying there was the cook. So she cooked for everyone. So people that go and visit, they leave her change to kind of pay her for what she did when she was alive and there. And we even contribute a quarter. We give our quarter. That's the one reason why we went ahead to the kitchen was so we could give a quarter to Doris. Mm-hmm. But when we walk in, there is quarters and change that are standing straight up. We don't know.
And that's where the first installment ended.
So drop a comment. Let us know. What do you think? Are we crazy? You can tell us we're crazy.
Randolph Assignment.
Assignment?
Randolph Asylum reminds me of like what Amityville Whorehouse would be like. I feel like the place itself messes with you.
Yeah.
And you'll see more and more like we just act weird.
We never talked about what our theory was. We said we were going to talk about our theory, and then we just kind of explained what led up to us developing this
there's
theory.
There's different theories, though. Like about it being a crazy place, so we made it feel crazy.
About how, like, different moments are happening.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so, like, why we think, that one picture that Donovan took looks like Melissa, where the other one kind of looks like my silhouette, like my body structure and everything. So, have we all watched Hill House? I don't want to spoil anything.
So leave. This is your moment to leave.
Yeah. This will be a Hill House spoiler. You have 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3.
Hi.
Okay, so in Hill House, everything is kind of happening at one time. So it's like time is irrelevant. So when someone is seeing a spirit or a ghost, they're not really seeing a spirit or a ghost. They're seeing themselves in the future because it happened in that house.
Right.
So it's like the house is like a time paradox. It doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of how, that's one theory that we have for Randolph Asylum, is that what if everything that we experienced,
it was replaying itself too.
Yeah, it was just the building replaying its moments, stuck in a time loop, if you will.
Because how else do you explain the stuff on the sink? How do you explain, which I can't talk about it yet, but there's so many things with like the pictures of us. Was it showing us later on? Was it...
Or was that just people that looked like us? It's weird. Do you have any idea, like...
And
what
then
are
we
your
did
theories?
too, on the car ride back, we were so wiped. But I did, as I was thinking, because we all felt like we were kind of going a little crazy.
Yeah.
But I did bring up, if the house, we keep calling it a house, but like the asylum wants you to feel what it was like being there. There was a lot of people that were mentally unstable or made to feel like they were crazy. And they weren't crazy. They were just made to feel that they were. So were we feeling that way because that's what the asylum and the people who passed wanted us to feel like? Mm-hmm. Because we literally all felt just like discombobulated. Yeah. Like our equilibriums were off. Like it was just...
Time made no sense. No. Nothing made sense. It was wild. I really hope that you guys stick with us. You watch all of these. I'm sorry they're not as super fancy as some of the other paranormal channels, but we're worth it.
We're never fake. We're always going to give 100% of what we think. If we didn't find anything, we'll tell you we didn't find anything. This one can't be explained.
No.
But to give us some credit here, or credibility, we would watch one footage and be like, oh, there's that. But then we would debunk ourselves by watching other footage that was playing at the same time. So we have debunked ourselves on some happenings that happen there. But there's other ones that you just can't.
Nope. And we'll do all of our debunkings as it comes up.
Yes.
There really is not that many debunkings, though.
I think there's one.
No. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely one.
There's just one. Pretty sure there's just one.
There were many things that we thought we debunked, and we did not debunk it.
So stay with us, guys, and thank you.
We love you all. Stay creepy.
Be kind.